Bathroom. Okay. Well, I too want to thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. I want to also say, in terms of what Paul said earlier, I didn't mean it. I take it. Hopefully, you didn't need it as an admonishment. I think it was just to let us know that for the next 419 days, we've got a tough battle in front of us, and that we can't rest on our hopes of tonight and the words that are said. That we're going to have to work really hard. But the fact is, as I go around and meet people and events like this over the last 3 or 4 months, I've got a renewed hope, folks. A renewed hope that if I look back, I'm a second-term state representative, and if I look at my first term when I won in 2010, some of the same kind of environment that we had in 2010 that ushered in the first time in over 30 years that we had a majority in the state Senate, and then a great majority in the House of Representatives. I feel that same momentum in our direction. But it's going to take a lot of hard work, so I'm so glad that you're all here tonight. It's representative, I think, of the hope that we have as Republicans that we can still make a difference. I think most of us understand that we're at a point in both our national and our state history that if we don't make a change, that we may be the last generation that is able to provide that inheritance that we got. That our best days as a nation may be behind us without a whole lot of turmoil. There's a lot of hard work before us, but I believe in the American people. And I certainly believe in the people of this party and Republicans. But it's going to take a lot of communications to do that. So he asked for 2 questions that we'd answer. What makes me uniquely qualified to run for this office? Well, he's mentioned some of it. My background, I teach business. I have an MBA and I've been teaching business for over 10 years. I was an executive with the Postal Service with 6,000 employees and $1.8 billion in revenue. Trimmed my own budget so that in 6 years, when they were looking to cut administrative staff in the nation, they picked 5 that had done it the best, and mine was one. So I was given the opportunity to make a decision if I were to move to headquarters and then back out to a field vacancy. But at 31 years, my oldest daughter had went to 3 high schools. So I said, I think I'm going to take my annuity, even though it's significantly reduced, and I want to do something else, because I've always wanted, not that I didn't feel like I was serving with the Postal Service, but I wanted to serve in a different way. So I went to work at Crossroads College. I served there as their Director of Adult Studies, their Vice President of Finance and Administration. Served there as 2 terms as an interim president. And when I decided to run for the state representative seat, I took a half contract and have been teaching business full-time in the fall before I make my way to the Capitol in the spring. I was part of that class that came in 2010 that gave us that majority, with a new enthusiasm that with a different way of thinking, a different worldview, if you will, that we could make a difference, that we didn't have to settle for a $5.6 billion deficit, and believe the only way that we could do that was to raise taxes. I was immediately made the Vice Chairman of State Government Finance. I served with Representative Downey, now our party chair, and we accomplished a lot of great things. Sunset Commission, that looked at a commission specifically designed to look at every agency and organization within the state government and decide whether or not it should continue. Now, unfortunately, the DFL, and they ushered in their new majority, decided not to keep that. But a lot of great things, and the results already been talked about, and that is we took a $5.7 billion, in fact, when I was elected, it was over $6 billion, and we turned that into a $3 billion revenue above projections without a tax increase. And it's also been stated that they increased taxes by 2.4%, $2.4 billion, and they've already had a shortfall. In 2 months, they've already had a shortfall. I know that most of us in the Republican caucus believe that in 2 years, we're going to get a majority. We feel like we are. We're going to work hard. We're going to put the candidates that can make a difference. But we're going to have a deficit challenge again. So I've been there. From the standpoint of, can we beat Tim Walz? I hear that. I'm sick of hearing that. We can beat Tim Walz. Yeah. Why am I uniquely qualified? I had the same challenge when I took the seat in 26B in Rochester in 2010. And a 3-term young DFLer who was the poster boy for the Wellstone School of Politics. And if any of you don't know what that is, that's their premier school for teaching politicians how to do retail politics. I beat him by 5%. And last time, in 2012, when we went back and it was very difficult for Republicans, I won by 15%. Where am I going to be focused? Well, it's limited government. But when you say limited government, it means a lot of things to a lot of people. It means the First Amendment. It means the Second Amendment. It means the Fourth Amendment. It means the 10th Amendment. But the thing that got me elected was just common sense. I grew up with cornfields like that behind me in Central Illinois. And it's still kitchen table, bread and butter issues, folks. People are worried about their jobs. They're worried about a deficit so large that they can't even imagine what $17 trillion is. No budget. For 6 years, no budget. 45 million people on food stamps. How do we turn the economy around? I had the experience, having worked on the committees that helped to fashion the legislation that got Minnesota's economy turned around like many of the other states, in blue states at least, was unable to do because they still had blue state majorities. So I'm Mike Benson, a state representative from Rochester, Minnesota. I have a conservative background. I want you to look at my record. Taxpayers League, Minnesota Family, Minnesota Concerns Citizens for Life, the NRA, the Farm Bureau, all folks that supported and endorsed me in my last election. We're going to do this, and Tim Walz will be just a spot in our history books in 2014. Thank you.